Hello everyone and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul and today once again we have a special guest here in our Newegg TV studios. This is Adam from NVIDIA. How's it going, Adam?
Good, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Paul.
Thank you for being here. Adam is part of NVIDIA's Quadro team and he is here to share with us the new Quadro series of Kepler-based workstation graphics cards. And let's just start off with a disclaimer that we tend to make every time we're talking about workstation graphics cards. These are not necessarily the types of cards that you would want to buy if you're planning to play Crysis 3.
Right.
If you're playing a game in general, these cards are geared towards a different type of activity, specifically workstation applications like some of the ones you see running behind us. And just to clarify that, don't buy these to play video games. But they are really good at doing the workstation stuff.
They're very good at it, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about that first off. Workstation graphics cards versus, say, gaming graphics cards. What does make that difference between the two?
Sure. So actually, we should probably start with what you said. They're really designed for engineers, mechanical designers, architects, animators, people who use PCs to make money and need them to be reliable, maximum uptime, and just work. And so I would say that the really key differentiator between gaming and pro cards, particularly Quadro, is drivers.
Okay.
So you and I love to build PCs, and one of the things that we find often with building PCs is interoperability issues, and that's a pain. And what ProGraphics tries to attempt to do, and does very well, is just work, and work very well. And so software vendors like Autodesk and Adobe, they qualify and they rigorously certify Quadro and Quadro drivers, just so that they just work. And so there's actually a select number of Quadro cards. There's maybe 6 Quadro cards in the market, and a K4000 or a Quadro K4000 is a Quadro K4000 regardless of when you buy it or where you buy it. On Newegg this morning, there are 19 versions of the GTX 560 on Newegg. There's one Quadro 4000. And so it makes it very easy to focus your efforts, as if you're a pro app developer, to support and do bug fixes and just make sure it works very well. And there's also some features actually that some of the pro apps include that you can only get with Quadro. And we're going to talk about a few of those. Okay,
so testing and validation.
Exactly.
I've also heard the sort of comparison before that whereas a gaming graphics card goes for speed, the workstation graphics card goes for precision. So
that's right.
When you're playing a game, you want those frames to appear as quickly as possible so you have nice smooth gameplay. And you don't necessarily care if, like, in this frame there's a little bit of an artifact here or there, something like that. Whereas with a workstation graphics card, it's doing that rendering in such a way that it maximum precision.
That's right. That's right. And frame rate is still quite important. I mean, when you're rotating a car or a model, you want to be seamless and buttery smooth as you can, but you're absolutely right. It's not about gaming at the highest frame rate with AA on. It is about seeing accurately a crisp image that you're creating a model, or you're animating a movie, or you're doing some video editing. So as you said, it's accuracy.
All right, so hopefully that gives you guys a little bit better explanation. Now we have a series of cards here. The K5000 we actually already have another video on, so if you guys want to check that out, that is available. We have the other cards in the series, so for depending on the type of application that you're going for, your use case scenarios, depending on how much graphics horsepower you actually need, there is going to be a card within this lineup that will meet your needs. Let's talk about Kepler though. Kepler is an architecture. It was introduced by NVIDIA with the 600 series of gaming graphics cards over on the GeForce side.
Right.
How has Kepler's implementation with the Quadro cards sort of affected how the cards perform and the feature set that's available?
Okay, yeah, we're very, very excited about this new family of cards, and I think similarly with what you mentioned on the gaming side, we've really pushed the boundaries of what's possible in a pro card. So with this new Kepler family, we've basically doubled the CUDA core count, doubled the raw compute performance capability, graphics visualization capability has increased. We've, in some cases, doubled the frame buffer memory and dialed up the speed, the memory speed. And probably also very important is we've actually doubled our display support. So now with these cards, we can actually support up to 4 displays simultaneously.
Okay, so just like with the gaming cards where you can now set up 3 displays for gaming, and you can even have a companion display. Same thing here with the Quadro cards. You can actually, with some of the cards, do 4 displays natively. Actually, with the K5000, 4 displays natively. With the cards in the middle, 3 displays up to 4 if you're going to use a DisplayPort 1.2 with the daisy chaining capabilities and compatible hardware, of course. And then, of course, the entry-level K600. Which I think we're going to take a closer look at right now. Actually, one of the other features, though, that I know with the 600 series that I really enjoyed was the actual power savings. Is that something that's also translated over here?
That's a good point. Yeah, what we've done is while we have increased performance, increased functionality, we've actually literally on every single board dropped the power requirement. And so that makes it a perfect drop-in replacement for any Quadro that you've had before, any previous generation.
All right, so you're not even necessarily going to need to say, oh, I don't need a bigger power supply or something like that to handle this. And then, of course, if you're an IT person or something like that and you're worried not just about setting up a single workstation, but you need a fleet of them or something like that, you're going to have power savings over time, and it's going to save you money on the power bill. All right, so let's now go in and take a bit of a closer look at some of the cards in the series. Let's go ahead and start off. I have the K600 here in my hands, as you guys can see right there. Right. And, so what are the standout points for this card here?
Sure. So the K600 is really a great entry CAD kind of PLM card. Also good at things like Photoshop and some sort of entry-level digital content creation. It's a low-profile card, so it fits into small form factor PCs. Very, very low power. You can see it has 2 connectors on it, so a DVI and a DisplayPort. And it's got 1 gig of DDR3 memory, so it can handle some pretty sizable models.
All right, so a single cooling fan on there, little cooling unit to keep it cool, of course, and then no additional power requirements also, so it drops right into your PCI slot, and it will simply run off of the power that's available there. Next in line, we have the, which one is this?
That's the K2000.
K2000. So we have a couple different versions of these. Essentially, they're the same apart from the video outs. Is that correct?
That's right. Okay. Just the display connectors are different. Right. So this is the K2000. It's really a fantastic mid-range card. It's less than 75 watts. The great things about the K2000 are it's got 2 gigabytes of fast GDDR5 memory. It's got display support up to 4 displays. And as you said, 3 native connectors, but you can get the additional 4th when you do DP 1.2 multi-streaming.
And what resolution would these connectors be capable of?
So up to 4K displays.
4K on all these, all right.
Well, actually 4K on the DisplayPort.
4K on DisplayPort, 2560 by 1600.
That's right.
I'd imagine on the dual link DVI.
Exactly.
And again, we got a blower style fan in there.
Yep.
Keeping the
very cool. It's down at 51 watts.
Oh, very nice.
So it's really low power and very quiet.
So even when you move up to the K2000, still no supplemental PCI Express power plugs required.
That's
now,
right.
A real quick look here, we have an additional K2000, again, just other display options here. So a lot of folks currently using DVI, so we have 2 dual-link DVI on this one, as well as a mini DisplayPort to give you guys a little bit more flexibility. And would the mini DisplayPort still be capable of the daisy chaining?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's a full-blooded DP 1.2 connector.
All right. So there are your options for the K2000. Let's go ahead and jump up to the K4000. So this one is definitely going to give you a big jump as far as GPU horsepower goes. Still maintaining a single slot card, however, which again is really nice, especially if you're going to, say, pair Quadro with perhaps a Tesla card.
Exactly, right. Yeah, so the K4000 is really quite a workhorse kind of a product. It's great for manufacturing workflows, great for media and entertainment workflows. It does require 1 6-pin connector, but it's only 80 watts. It's got 3 gigabytes of fast GDDR5 memory, and also supports up to 4 displays.
All right. So also have the what our fans might recognize as an SLI connector here. How is this implemented with the Quadro series?
Very much the same way. So SLI is used in the same fashion with Quadro.
Okay.
So you can put multiple cards together.
The ability to pair additional cards to increase your GPU compute capabilities.
Exactly.
And then again, for display outputs here on the back, very similar to the K2000, we have a dual-link DVI out as well as the 2 display ports. Again, DisplayPort 1.2 hardware is capable of daisy chaining with compatible hardware.
That's right.
Last in line, we have this beast. This is the K5000. Now again, guys, we actually, at launch of this card, we did a full video on it, so we won't spend too much time here, but we will give you guys a quick 360-degree view nonetheless.
Exactly.
And anything stand out for this one, Adam?
Yeah, so I mean, this is over 1,500 CUDA cores in this product. So a lot of compute performance capability, a lot of 3D visualization capability. It's got 4 gigabytes of fast GDDR5 memory. And again, it's pretty low power, so it's only up in the 120 watt range. So it's
just
very quiet. Very
single
low.
PCI Express adapter required.
That's right.
Now, I did want to point out really quick. We have a couple extra. We have a stereo connector here.
That's right.
SDI sync connector.
That's right. Actually, and that's important. So both the K4000 and the K5000 have the ability to they actually come with typically an optional stereo adapter that allows you to do 3D stereoscopic displays that are frame for frame locked.
Okay.
So you'd have a kind of a pro 3D experience and never have any sort of jitter in the frame. So that's one of the things. That's the stereo connector.
Okay.
SLI, obviously we mentioned that. And SDI and Sync, that is some pro video tools that we have. We have a SDI input and SDI output.
Okay.
SDI is sort of a raw video feed that video production specialists use, and we've got capability where you can actually bring SDI video in to the card, do some compositing, and then spit it back out through SDI.
Very nice. So some enhanced capabilities there, particularly if you're into the video editing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great card. Dual slot, but still very low powered and very quiet.
All right. So next up, we're going to take a quick look at a demonstration here, just to give you guys a little idea of how workflow might proceed if you're going to be using one of these Quadro cards. So we have SolidWorks as well as a ray tracing program, which is called
Bunk Speed Shot.
All right. So Adam, what's going on?
What's going on here? Right. Exactly. Thanks. So what we're showing, as you mentioned, with pro graphics, you mentioned this a couple times, but with pro graphics, it really is about the workflow, and it's about the reason why you invest in a workstation or a PC or workstation graphics is to ensure that you get your job done, you create the best car or the best model you can in the shortest amount of time, and so it's about productivity and how quickly can you get to revenue, essentially. So what we're showing here is kind of a pretty basic, typical example of how Kepler, the new Kepler series, can really benefit customers. So first off, you'll notice that we've got a 3 display configuration. This is becoming very common. A lot of customers are wanting to do this, and it's because you can, if you see all of the aspects of your workflow at a glance, you can work faster. See more and do more. And so what we've got here is an example of, I've got basically, this is e-drawings here. This is a Dassault product. Basically taking very small kind of component level, doing some component design, and then moving over potentially in a window to where you're using a lot of small components and building a larger assembly. So this is just a concept car, and as you can see with Kepler, this is a very large model. Yes. There's a lot of geometry. There's a lot of textures going on here, and you can see that I can spin this bad boy around very quickly. I can zoom in. It's very seamless and smooth, and that's what you really want. You want engineers to be able to interact very seamlessly with their models, which you can. There
are a ton of polygons going on in this little model, and so I mean, spinning around is very nice. Does that translate into sort of direct productivity? If I want to move to from one side of the card to the other as I'm making design decisions or small adjustments, having that rendered so quickly means that I can just jump from point to point rather than sitting there waiting for 5 or 10 seconds for the render to occur.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. And I think it's also a distraction. You want to focus on the work, and you don't want the tool to be the bottleneck.
Isn't it something like 2 seconds, like 2 seconds of waiting for something, and the human mind
my mind would lose it. But yeah, exactly.
Thinking about
it's something else. Exactly. And so I think that's a good way to put it. The other thing that's really great about pro graphics and with the Kepler series is that there are certain applications like SolidWorks that I'm showing here that have special tools and views built into them that only Quadro or only workstation graphics can enable. Okay. And I just turned it on. It's called Real View, and as you can see, this is sort of a way to look at a model in a more realistic view. And so this is great for almost getting to the point where you could show a client a design, but it's an important part of what pro graphics are. Unique features that are built into the app that only pro graphics can enable.
So you're getting some actual textures in here, you're getting some lighting effects. It's
right.
Definitely a much more polished look.
Exactly, and it's very important to note that all of the ambient occlusion and some of the stuff that's going on behind the sheets or under the covers is a big workload, and you can see that I can still spin this model around very seamlessly, and so that's performance.
You know what we should point out? This is a K4000 that we're running on, by the way, you guys. For this demo here, we should have pointed that right at the bit. But in case you're wondering, this is not even the K5000. This isn't the top of the line card. This is the K4000. And again, you could also, of course, do this type of thing with the K2000 or that sort of thing. But
that's a good point.
We probably should have mentioned.
Exactly.
Now you guys know.
Now you guys know. And the reason why you move from one graphics to another typically is that this is a very large model. This would be slower on a K2000. There would be some stuttering. And so if your model got even bigger, that's when you start to think about moving up to the K5000.
Okay, so again, depending on your workload, that's why you sort of might invest in one card over the other. Now, are we going to move on to the bunkhouse over here?
Yeah, the bunkhouse, as we call it. Yeah, it's called bunk speed shot.
Bunk speed.
Exactly.
All right. I'm still familiarizing myself with these applications. All right.
So we've gone from sort of we're taking a small component, we're putting it into a larger assembly, and then now maybe we want to go and actually show a client the design that we're thinking about. And so what we've got here, this is bunk speed shot. It's essentially a photorealistic a ray tracing application. So I take my model from a CAD application, I import it into bunk speed shot, and I can actually apply with a library. I can apply material properties, and I can basically get a very photorealistic image of this model. And with Kepler, with the performance and the compute capability of Kepler, and using CUDA, we can bake a very photorealistic image in minutes. And so I can create magazine ads, I can show you, if you're my client, a photorealistic, and you'd have no idea that this is computer generated. And so this technology is the same technology that's used in CG for every movie, basically, that's made, where something looks so unrealistic, or so realistic, but it's, how do they make that happen?
How is it
this is the technology, and this is actually what's really amazing, I think, about technology like this is literally simulating how light interacts with the environment.
So you have,
literally
you
simulating
have kind
photons.
of a simulated light source. It's coming down and making contact with the surfaces that are on the model itself.
That's right.
But not just that initial contact. It's actually calculating as it bounces and reflects off of the different surfaces. And am I correct in that it goes in pass over pass through this, and it kind of gets sharper and sharper?
Exactly. And you can actually see it when I move the model. You can see how it's kind of grainy, and that's literally sort of like a high ISO film almost. It's grainy. It's not. There's not a lot of resolution, and then you can see it slowly iterate and iterate and iterate, and more bounces of light are happening.
And that's really GPU intensive for this.
It's 100% GPU, and it's 100% CUDA. So it's this is all done by NVIDIA GPUs.
Excellent.
Yeah. So we've talked now about kind of workflow, and one of the aspects of workflow we mentioned is this concept of multiple monitors.
Yes.
So to coincide with Kepler and being able to give you more display real estate, one of the challenges that customers have is, how do I manage all of these windows? I generally have more windows than I have displays. And so how do I see and get insights into my workflow or my work, or even my personal documents at a glance? So we developed a tool, and we're launching it to coincide with Kepler, that's called NView. And it's basically it was a tool that we originally developed for the financial traders. So this was built really originally for financial traders who have massive amounts of data and need to make $1 million decisions at a glance based on some data that's on some portion of their screen. But that same problem is a problem for manufacturing people or media and entertainment people. And so we completely redesigned the UI. And what you see here is it truly is a workspace management tool. So I've got basically a bird's eye view of all of my desktop windows. I can move around windows wherever I want. I can also create multiple virtual desktops. So in this case, this was sort of my CAD view. This is where I do my work. The next view is sort of like a document view. So I can put a bunch of documents up, and I can essentially flip through all of my virtual desktops. I have a personal desktop here, so I might have a browser open, YouTube, whatever. I can also actually keep this display happens to be persistent, so I'm keeping this one display persistent through all these virtual desktops.
Okay.
But this is a great tool for being able to manage multiple displays much easier.
So So you kind of have your different workflows set up, whether you're just catching up on your social media or whether you're actually getting some work done.
Exactly.
Jump back and forth between those, and gives you a much better solution for actually managing all those windows. And I like how you can actually, even on this view here, you can take each individual window, manipulate it around, drag it over to a different desktop, even minimize it or maximize it, I should say, go full screen.
Exactly.
Like so, and you can see it immediately taking effect over here on the left as Adam is going and manipulating that window around.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's very useful.
And that is going to wrap it up for this video, guys. So we've been talking a little bit more about NVIDIA's new Quadro series of Kepler-based graphics cards. I've been talking with Adam from NVIDIA's Quadro team. And Adam, thank you very much again for stopping by today.
Thanks so much for having me, Paul. Appreciate it.
No problem. And thanks to all you guys for watching. If you would like to see more tech videos, of course, you can find them on our Newegg TV YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe for more tech videos. We'll see you all next time on Newegg TV.